Hey there, welcome back to Checking the Gate. My name is William, and this podcast exists as a resource and a guide for independent filmmakers. We talk about the tools we use and the people that we work with to get your idea from just an idea to a finished product on a screen. And this episode is really cool. This is episode 5. It's with my friend Fedor Steer. And we talk about his movie BFF Zombie that is hosted on NDTV. So you can see that by going to newdealtelevision.com/BFF Zombie. And in this episode, Fedor and I talk about what it took to get his movie from the idea to the final product, and talking about whatever it takes to get there with whatever you have and using whatever is at your disposal at any given time to make your project, and even dividing responsibilities among a limited crew. So this is a great conversation. It's a great resource if you find yourself in the same situation, looking to figure out what you can do with what you have. This is a great episode. So tune in, and it's a pleasure to welcome my friend Fedor Steer. Welcome back to the podcast, episode 2 with you. What is this? This is 5. In total. So, but thank you, Fedor, for being here.
Nice to be back. Thank you, William.
It's a good time. It's a good time. We're gonna have another good episode, another good week. So, today, this particular episode is about the creative process. We talked about kind of who you are as a person and as a creative last time as you. So, this episode is how you transfer who you are into what you do. So, the creative process and the evil genius behind it, or maybe just regular old genius. I don't know. There is some genius. So let's start. The first question is, how do you approach developing ideas for your film? So, side note, your film BFF Zombie,
yes,
is the name of the movie that you have on NDTV, and so I guess that's what we're talking about today, and how you landed on the creative of that. We kind of got into it last time, and in the how it came about and how you eventually got there. But let's recap.
Yeah, I didn't really quite get to finish the story, but yes, I originally wrote the script as an idea for my daughter who lives in Canada, to have something for her to do, and a friend of mine who was a director saw it and said, let's make this into an actual film. I was like, okay. What I didn't get to last week was when we finally got everybody cast and we got all the crew there and it was time to start filming this thing. We filmed it at my house. I had to get rid of my kids, my wife, get them out for the weekend. So that was a whole process there. But my friend,
what's the creative process behind getting your wife out of that?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
I'm just kidding. I love my wife dearly.
Yes, we all do. So we're all ready to film, and my friend, the director, contacts me and says she sprained her ankle.
Oh, man.
She can't make it.
Dang.
I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah. You know? No, you didn't tell us that.
No. So we didn't get to that part. So suddenly, I guess I'm the one who wrote the script. I put everything together. I produced the whole thing. I guess now I'm the director as well.
Like you're the director.
Yeah.
You've got a whole brand new hat for that, I guess.
Yes. So we just tackled it. We went out there and said, we got to start filming this thing. Everybody was there. So we had a little meeting at the beginning, thanked everybody for being there, and got the cameras placed, and off we went.
Full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, the whole thing was a learning process for me.
Yeah.
But then they have to, without knowing it was coming, now direct it as well.
Yeah, the rubber meets the road. Like, I wrote this on a page. Now, like, you're almost solely responsible for bringing it to life.
Yeah.
That's a task.
Yeah, but what was a good thing was that we had, as we talked about last week, so many good people there.
Sure.
That everybody picked up what and performed where they were needed and jumped in there. We had Joseph Shaw who knew the business so well. It was amazing to me where I don't know where he pulled the stuff from, because we said, well, we need something to hold this up, and boom, he'd be there with the tape,
Okay.
And we need this, and he'd bring that out. I don't know, it magically appeared. He had it all.
Nice.
But that comes with his experience. He's done this kind of thing so often.
And what was his specific role on the
Specifically, he was like the AD.
Oh, wow. You just moonlit as the key grip.
But then he became the grip. He became,
Sure.
and then our head makeup lady, she couldn't stay for the full shoot. She had to leave early. And turns out he's also excellent at applying makeup to zombies.
How about that?
So that was a lifesaver to have him there. Yeah,
no
absolutely.
That's wild. So in the pre-production process, like I'm curious actually, because we didn't talk about this last week either. In the pre-production process, like obviously there's the backstory of writing it for your daughter and all of that. So, I mean, you kind of came at this and then had a long break and you came at it again, you know, as your project. You said you wrote it in a very short amount of time. Like where does one come up with a story about sentient zombie teenagers?
And I'm assuming a lot of other writers will have a similar thing to say, is that sometimes you go for a long time and you have no ideas at all. Yeah. You know, it's just like, oh, I want to write a script. What can I write about? And then there's other times when it just, hey, and boom, and it just flows and it comes together and it just flies off your fingertips, you know, onto the keyboard, and there it is on the screen, and it all meshes and it gels, and that's a great feeling. It really is when those things start happening like that, organically.
Sure, no doubt.
And so I've taught in elementary schools. I don't know if I ever got to that part of it. So I've had multiple careers. So after my swim coaching days, I was an elementary school teacher, and I've taught language classes and writing. I've taught writing to these kids. And I've said, okay, today we're going to write a creative story. And the kid's like, I don't know what to write about. And you just start throwing out ideas. And what I've always tell the kids is, you can write about anything. Look around the room and you see a book. Okay, what is this book? What's special about this book? You know, what does it do when you open up the pages? What happens? You know, and you just start diving into the what ifs and then whys, and those two questions will lead you down this path. And now all of a sudden, boom, you got a fully developed story, and you can do that with any object if your mind is willing to explore it.
And it's so interesting that like everything we do in life is a building block for the next thing. You know, and if the sooner we realize that, the better. Yeah. You know, because you could have been a second grade teacher or whatever and been like, what is this? Like, I'm assuming you liked it if you did it for a long time, but like, that's not most people's dream.
No.
Is, you know, so like you could have sat there and been like, what's next or whatever. And then like, just kind of not let yourself self-absorb anything from that era of your life. But all of a sudden, you're like, hey, let's write a cool story. Oh, wait, I've taught this 100 times already. You know, like I'm going to do it myself. You know, like it's cool. That's neat.
I've always been like that, and it probably annoys some of the people in my family, but I've always looked to what's next. You know, I've never been, I can't say I'm not satisfied with where I am right now or what I'm doing right now, because I tend to find the joy in most things, even if it's teaching elementary school. I did enjoy that for a while, but my brain is always like, ooh, that looks like fun.
Sure.
I want to do that too.
Yeah.
You know, and the downside is sometimes I tend to overload myself with too many projects all at the same time. But I'm out there volunteering. I do a lot of sport. I always have to have it. And my wife knows this too. When I start getting into like a deep, dark funk, that's never really that dark. I'm not bad like that. But if I'm starting to get a little moody or a little testy or something, like she knows me. She said, "You need a new project, don't you?" I said, "Yes,
nice.
I do. That's fun. Oh, what can I do? You know?" And then and whether it's working in the yard or I'm building a hot tub at the house we're at now, and I just love to have that because it keeps my brain engaged, and I'm always thinking. And while I love the physical work too.
Sure.
You know, just lugging concrete back and forth all day long, 80-pound bags of concrete. The whole time my brain is going, I want to make a movie about this.
Yeah. You know? Dude, that's funny. I feel that.
What am I burying in this concrete? Oh.
My brother and I say all the time, like, first of all, like I grew up on a farm in South Georgia, right? And my brother and I are the first two people of our family that are in the arts, you know, of any kind. Like it was just a foreign concept that could be a career, you know, back in the day on the farm. Yeah, to be able to fly on the wall when my brother told my parents that he was going to drop out of like engineering school to like make movies. You know, like that was a conversation.
But my wife wasn't a big fan of it either in the early days.
I got you. But what I'm getting at is like having grown up on a farm and like there are creative solutions that you have to come up with to make the day farming also. You know, like the tire falls off the planter or something. And like, you know, like you have to figure out a way to get that back together and make the day, you know, because the sun's going down at 8:30 or whatever, regardless, like this thing has to be done by then. You know what I mean? In the same way, we call it chasing the sun in film. You know, I mean, farmers have been chasing the sun for millennia, you know, so.
Yeah, and in the end, you're absolutely exhausted. Yeah. But you got it done, and that feels good, doesn't it? Yeah. It feels so
good. But like my dad, this is what my brother and I say all the time, like our dad is the most creative person that I know. Oh, yeah. Like he could never touch a camera. Can't really do anything with the arts as we know them, but he is a creative individual. And so like lugging concrete around or what you're talking about, there are ways to find the joy in creation well outside of cameras and lights and sound and stuff. So like that's an interesting take on the work side of of life also, you know, and I find myself like if I'm doing a project around the house, like, you know, there are people every day that get paid to like build houses or whatever, but like I make that one thing out of wood and I'm like the most amazing person in the world. You know, like I figured this out and I measured this and my wife and I are building a tiny house out of a school bus. And and so like there's creativity in the mundane work there also. Yeah. You know, like and you're taking something and completely transforming it into something else using tools and getting splinters along the way and all that stuff, but you're still in your own it's hands. A creation at the end of the day. It's something that you made with your hands, you know, and it's just a fun thing. So creative stuff lies way outside of the arts, you know. Everything is art if you let it be.
And I think, as you said, with any job, if your brain is active and you're engaged in a way that makes it interesting, your day is going to be happier.
Yeah, and like Henry Ford, was he an artist? I don't know, but like he changed the world. You know, like with the car. You know,
well, he was creative.
He was creative.
So would we? Is it stereotypical or what we would normally call art? Right. No, but it has the same elements,
and it will last as long as anything else. What his contribution to the human race was will last just as long as anything that's in the Louvre. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. Like there's finding joy in what you do and unlocking that side of your brain. It's a really fun thing to talk about. I didn't mean to talk about any of this actually. No. But I love that. I love that we're doing that.
Yeah. So any of the people that are watching this, you gotta let that element of your brain go. Just make it happen. And don't restrict it in any way, and don't let other people tell you to restrict it. I was alluding to how. And I don't want to throw her on the proverbial school bus here. My wife, who was not super enthusiastic about my acting stuff in the early days because I was doing independent film and I was doing auditions and that was still when we had to do live auditions. So I had to take a day off work, drive all the way to Miami, and it was always smack in the middle of the day. So I'd lose my entire day's work, not just a morning or an afternoon, do an audition, drive all the way back 9 times out of 10 for nothing. Right. Because you don't get the part. And she's like, why are you doing this? Why are you spending all this time and money to do this nothing thing? And I said, well, first, 2 things here. First of all, I don't think I'm spending that much. I doubt I'm spending $1,000. Would you begrudge me if I spent $1,000 a year out of my salary that I worked in my day job for a hobby that I enjoy and love? She said, well, no, but
that's an interesting take.
Yeah. I said that it's something I'm passionate about. It's something I enjoy. So $1,000 a year for a hobby, it's not that bad. And she said, well, I think it's a lot more than $1,000 when you're spending on gas and tolls and all that stuff. I said, I don't think so. She made me keep a spreadsheet. I kept a spreadsheet.
What was the number?
Way less than $1,000.
Get out of town.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It was way less than $1,000. Yeah. But then, you know, after a couple of years, I actually started making some money. And now for some of the productions, it's actually pretty good money. Yeah. And now she seems to accept it a lot more than she did in the early days.
There you go. So. And that's something. Success tends to bring people around.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I think if you phrase it in a way, some people may object to this. Okay, this seems frivolous or unnecessary because it's not part of taking care of your family or part of your day job. But if you
tinkered with a woodworking project in your garage that nobody was ever going to see, and it was just something that brought you joy to wind down at the end of the day,
people would be okay with that.
People would be okay with that.
Yeah. So if you phrase it, and I don't mean to make it sound like you got to manipulate the conversation here, but it's really
certainly a great talking point for that conversation.
It's a conversation talking point, and it's not wrong. This is just another form of expressing yourself and letting that brain relax from the other things.
That's a very cool thing. I actually thought of something else too. Like we were talking about last week, like all the names in the credits, and your average person's sitting in the audience, and they're like, did there really have to be 400 people on this scroll of names? Like what in the world? You know what I mean? But like, and you think of artists, you think of like the number one actor, or like the director is a name that comes in, and like, they're the artist or whatever. But I would encourage anybody to go on a film set and see like it's artists everywhere. Like even like the people cooking, getting that many good meals turned around in that short amount of time, or a world that I live in a lot is the grip and electric world. Mm-hmm. So like grips are some of the most creative people on the film set, because like, sure, like you can memorize lines and cry on time or whatever. But like when the DP says, but can we put the sun over there? Yeah. And it's obviously coming in this window, the actual sun. And he's like, but I think this scene would be better if the sun was coming in from over there. Like, what do you do with that? But you have a team of people and a truckload of gear that figure that out. Yeah. And like what that looks like outside of what the camera sees is a ridiculous contraption, but those people move the sun from over here to over here.
Yeah, and you got to make the shadows fall where they'll work and not
consistent shadows where like the new sun is like sending a shadow this way. Like you can't do that. Like you have to do it right.
Yeah. And the color has to be right. It has to look authentic. Yeah.
So everybody behind the camera is as much of an artist as everybody in front of the camera. Yeah. And it's fascinating to watch that.
Yeah, and this might be a good point to throw in there too, is you don't need a team of 400 people now to create an independent film.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You said you made one with 2 people.
That's true. Yeah, last week we talked about like my first couple of films that we made in college for like a crew's worth of positions, but it was only my name and my brother's name back and forth.
Yeah,
tag team.
And that is still absolutely true, especially with today's technology.
It is significantly harder to do it that way.
It is harder. It is harder. But if you have a good story, it doesn't take much more than that. If you have we've seen films, and sometimes they're a little bit arty, maybe to my taste, but you can do it. You can have. I saw an independent film that really stuck in my brain at a film festival a couple of years ago. They filmed it during COVID. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to remember the name of it now, but Shutterbugs. Oh. It was they filmed it during COVID, and it was 3 friends, and it was cinema. It was cinema ready. Mm. It would play well in any theater. Wow! Because the cinematography was amazing, the acting was superb, but it was a house that they were living in during COVID, isolated from the rest of the world. And they were like, what can we do? Well, let's make a movie. Yeah. And they did. And it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Just the way it was shot, the storyline, but with minimal equipment, minimal cast. Yeah. Using a lot of natural light, which you can do with cameras these days. Sure. You can just film it with the light that you have available. You don't need giant rigs of
fanciness. Yeah. That actually reminds me of a story too. I have a friend who works with us a lot in the grip and electric world on commercial stuff. He is an artist in his own right as a director of photography, a writer. He's just a good dude and very talented guy. And during COVID, I think the story goes, I'd have to check it with him, but he found a credit card company that would do a 0 interest credit card and for 20 months or something. And he financed a short film, and he and his 2 roommates cast themselves and did everything. My brother let him borrow some gear and stuff out of his grip truck and stuff. And they made a movie that's won a couple of film festivals. Wow. And it was just the 3 of them. Granted, this guy is one of the best in the crew that I work with. He's one of the best there is. But you don't have to be the best there is to still make something that's awesome.
No,
and I mean that's the point. Is with today's technology and with the right mindset, and the right vision, you can do just about anything.
I think the only consistent ingredient across big sets, small sets, is tenacity.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing you really need. You might not be the best scriptwriter. You might not be the best cinematography, but if you're tenacious and you're able to persist and keep trying and working at it and thinking it through and planning and not giving up on anything, you can create something fantastic.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, you hear it like in sporting events all the time, like fighting, like boxing or something. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up.
Yeah.
Or any particular thing like that. Like that mindset is what you need. And it's equal parts tenacity and problem solving ability.
Mm-hmm. Which you can also argue that's also tenacity. There's a problem, you're not going to give up on it until you figure it out.
That's true. One is a symptom of the other.
Yeah,
for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's true.
So if you have that, and if you have this will to do it, and you're not going to give up, you can do it.
Yeah.
You'll find a way.
Yeah.
Whether it's borrowing equipment or finding money on a zero interest credit card, whatever it is. It can be done.
Yeah. Shutterbugs, Shutterbug or Shutterbug?
Shutterbugs plural.
Bugs.
And there was a lot of really cool macro photography of insects.
Oh, cool.
In the film. So there was a theme.
Neat. Is that showing anywhere?
I'm not sure. I know it did a lot of film festivals, and it did very well in a lot of film festivals. But
I need to reach out to them about NDTV.
They would, I think, really enjoy that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They're in New York. I can get you the contact.
Either way, I'd like to see it. That sounds cool. And we'll put a link to that. If it is somewhere currently, we'll put a link to that on here as well as my friend's movie too, so we can have a show and tell.
Yes.
Our object lessons there. So, but back to your movie, Zombie. BFF Zombie, as I was saying. I will never get that right. I don't understand. It's the heat of the moment, I suppose.
Yeah, it's okay.
BFF Zombie. So, like, you were thrust into the director role.
Yes.
So, and you talked last week about the casting process and stuff, and you wanted to do it right, even when you were just producing it. So, and you got people to be in the movie. And what was it like getting them on set? I'm assuming most of them were strangers. Right.
Yeah, they were. I had personally met 3 of the 4 girls. The 4th one, Ella, she was, she just did an online kind of thing. She sent in a tape, and she was probably the most experienced actress of Wallstead is her last name. She was already pretty established as an actress, and she probably did the most after of all the girls as well. She was in a Disney film called, escapes my mind. I'll remember it later. I had not met her in person. So when she showed up, she was a lot smaller than I thought she would be.
Okay.
And that was the first thing out of my mouth. And I regret that to this day. She and her mom stepped out of the car. Said, "Oh, you're a lot smaller." And I thought, she was like,
"Yeah,
I get that a lot."
With a wife who is 4'10", I get that.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot.
So, but she was fantastic, and she and so did the other girls. They had. I was so pleased with the casting. Really, really was. They all contributed with their facial expressions, just the tiny little nuances of the performance. I'm really thrilled with the performance. I think if I were to talk about what I'm happy with and what I would like to improve upon next time is probably the sound more than anything. We did not have a proper sound guy. Mm-hmm. I tried to get one, but turns out they're expensive.
They are.
You can't get a lot of sound guys that are willing to put in a few days of work for free. Yeah. And so we never had a proper sound person on set. So Ben, who was working the camera, also had headphones on to try and listen to the sound. But you can't do both.
Yeah, that's hard.
You cannot.
That is hard to do.
And as a wonderful job as Ben did, the sound, we also didn't have the proper equipment. So when I got back and I started editing, there were just things like, crap, we forgot to turn off the air conditioning.
Yeah.
You know,
versus if you had that one person dedicated to be like super anal about that.
Yeah.
you wouldn't have had that problem.
Exactly. If somebody who could focus on the sound and they're listening before every take, they're listening. Oh, we got a plane. Oh no, we got to get the air conditioning. Okay, now we're good to go. You know, his primary job was the cinematography and the sound was secondary. So I totally get it. But it was an extra challenge in post to fix it.
Yep.
And I'm no sound expert, but I tried different filters and then things would turn out tinny.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't an option either to just bring these girls back and do ADR or re-record their options, because they all did it for free and they're living in widely dispersed areas of the state. So I had to try and fix it. So this was another happy accident.
Okay.
I have friends who are talented musicians. I didn't know you yet at the time. Otherwise, I would have asked you as well.
I would have done it.
But I asked about half dozen of my friends who were musicians, said, do you have any original songs that I can use and put it in my movie?
Yeah.
Plus one professional, Sarah Packiam, who happened to, one of the girls, her dad was her manager. And we were on set, so all the parents were there as well, of course, with the girls. And he said, I manage this girl, and she's fantastic. Let me see what I can do. Maybe we can put some of her songs in there. So we got a couple of her songs in there.
Nice. Yeah, there's some cool tracks in there.
So I got all these songs, and as I'm editing, I just dropped these songs, and it seemed like every time I did it, the song was just perfectly placed.
Awesome.
And synced up with the action that was happening on the screen at the time.
Love those happy accidents.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
And it's like, and even then so I might have gotten one or two songs, and then I dropped the song in there, and then I would listen to the words and I say, actually the words kind of go with the action as well.
For sure.
And
that's awesome.
A lot of the comments I've gotten about the film is, I love the music.
Cool.
And that makes me so happy. Because I was really taking anything that people would give me.
In the moment you act like you're selective, like, we'll see if we can work it
but
in.
I didn't have a lot of options. And I didn't have the funds to pay royalties on published songs. So I dropped them in and they worked.
That's awesome.
And
I got really lucky with our first couple also. We had some local bands in my hometown.
Yeah.
They were like, put our music anywhere you want it. And it all happened to work beautifully as well. So it's just it's a really cool thing.
And we all know those friends that are musicians, and every single one of them's got some original song somewhere they would love to showcase in a movie of some sort. Yeah,
I mean, I think at the heart of this is your network. Like, you live or die by your network when it comes to this. Like, knowing the right people that maybe they're not going to sweat with you for the 12-hour shoot day, but they still have something like an asset, like a song that they can contribute or anything really. I mean, you said your wife helped with the food. You know, like there's somebody that can do that. You know, and like when in our early days, it was my mom. You know, like she was always feeding everybody, so that was a wonderful part of the process that I never had to worry about. It's really neat to build the right team. Like, and when the right team comes together to do that.
So be kind to your friends, because you never know when you might need to borrow their talents for.
That's true.
Who knows what?
I think hearing what you were saying about like the ragtag crew, as in that belittles their talent, but like you just can't do everything, right? So like what helped in my world when we were starting was my brother is a very gifted DP and gaffer, just genius with lighting things, you know, like he wanted to be a DP and he still DPs a few things, but he's mostly a gaffer now because he always had a knack for making our friends' projects look better than our friends made our projects look. You know what I mean? It was one of those situations. Yeah. So he found his lane as a gaffer, but because of that, he was really well versed in all the cameras that were available to us at the time. So he was a good operator and good with light. I was the kind of make it happen specialist. You know, like in film and TV, we call this grips. You know, like if we needed a solution, I'd come up with it. But I also was training to be a sound guy at the time, like doing specifically location sound for film and TV, and post stuff. So like I had that. So like anything visual was his task, anything sound or stuff around the set was mine. So like he was never having to leave the camera to go do sound, or I was never having to go fiddle with camera settings while doing sound. You know, like it was a pretty good delineation of tasks.
Yes.
You know, like if you have to do it with a small ragtag crew, you know, like if you find those people that can split it literally in half
and focus
anything visual is this person, anything else is the other person.
Yeah.
You know, like that is a good way to do it. That's a good tip for those of you out there listening. So that's awesome. So you actually kind of worked through my next couple of questions. So
okay.
Well, which is awesome. No, it's been a really wonderful conversation.
We had some other technical challenges. If we want to discuss that, we had since we're on that kind of frame right now. Anyway, towards the end of the movie, and I don't want to reveal too much for those of you who might like to see it, we had some blood spatter going on. You know, some blood flying, and we don't want blood on the camera.
Right.
So we brought in a sheet of plexiglass.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
To separate those two elements. In post, and we didn't see it on the day, but in post, you can see glare from the glass.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
You know, and so here I am on my little computer trying to figure out how to do it. And I tried all kinds of things. And again, I'm on a budget. I didn't have great software. I ended up just darkening it.
Yeah.
Just darkening it and until the glare was pretty much gone. Now, some people have said it's a little bit too dark.
It is dark.
It is dark. But
it plays as a choice that you made artistically, not a mistake.
That's what I'm going with. Exactly. Because and it actually fades completely to black in certain spots. And I can't remember exactly why, but I think it was the same kind of thing. There were just some spots that were so literally glaring that I just blacked it out completely. And I went with, okay, it's an artistic choice, and just have it really go dark and let the imagination, and I added sound effects to kind of make you that. And I think it was the sound that really makes you, more than the visuals, that makes you cringe at that moment.
If you make the audience wince at just the right time, they're not looking at the glare on the lens or how dark it is.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, a lot of people do that. I mean, that's a trend now. I mean, every horror movie I think that I've seen lately is like super dark.
Super dark.
It's like they're not even trying to put lights in there.
No, I know. And even with Evil, so I've been on the show Evil. Now I'm watching my own episodes, and they just all aired on Netflix. And the first 2 seasons are on Netflix, and all the 4 seasons are on Paramount Plus. So they just finished airing the last episode maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so I'm watching myself, and now I'm taking screen grabs for my resume, my portfolio, and I'm posting some of these on my Instagram and Facebook. And as I'm posting them, I'm realizing, holy crap, I can't see anything because it's so dark. Now you watch it in a darkened room, it's not a problem,
right?
But if you're looking at that picture now in a lighted room on your Facebook page or something, you can't see anything. Yeah. So I've had to actually take those screen grabs, brighten them up, boost them a bit, so that there's something there. But even then, they're really dark. So then then you notice how dark they've gotten.
That's true. That's very, very true. Well, let's talk about a creative choice that is atypical, like something people don't think about. So like you mentioned your budget. I think in the last week you mentioned it was $500 total for your movie.
Yeah.
You have to get creative for sure to work around a $500 budget, because your movie, I think the runtime is 22 minutes, give or take. It might be 22 flat, actually, now that I think about it. Because I was like, wow, he nailed that right on the money. Or maybe I just made all that up. I don't know.
I think it's pretty close to 22 minutes, and I think the last 2 minutes are all those credits that we invented.
We invented. How did you go about scoring locations? Because if you didn't have the budget to buy locations or to lock down, or in the film business we call it own them.
Yeah.
How did you get like the church and?
So, okay. The house was our own house at the time.
Yeah.
The driveway was the driveway of our house. The canal location and where the swing set is, that was actually at the end of our street.
Oh, cool.
And we knew the guy that lived there, and we said, hey, do you mind if we film on your property? And he said, yeah, not a problem at all.
And you're in Florida, so like you have to give the disclaimer, like if you see a zombie, don't shoot it.
Yeah,
like they're children.
Well, there was that. The neighbors called the cops
Really?
on us. Or I don't know if he actually called the cops or was going to call the cops, but he checked with the owner of the property first. They said, hey, there's a bunch of people on your property. I don't know what they're doing. And I said, no, it's fine. It's fine. You know,
Some of them might be dead or undead. I don't know.
So, no, we got away with that. The church was actually at the school I was working at the time.
Oh.
So it was a church school. Yeah. And I said, hey, do you mind? We need a church scene. We need a church to film this scene. Can we film it at your location? And they asked, can we see the script first? And I said, they're not ever going to let us do it.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, that was fine. Huh. We filmed there. There's an interesting story there. The coffin that we used was a real coffin.
That was my next question.
Oh, was it?
Where did you get that?
Yeah. So the people at the church said, we know this guy he owned a funeral home. He's retired now, but I think he still has connections.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask him? And we called him up and he said, you need a coffin? Sure, yeah. Where do you need it? When do you need it?
Awesome.
And he delivered this coffin, put it there.
Dude.
We show up, there's a coffin already there and with some flower. The flowers are already part of the church. They use them all the time.
Sure.
The funny part was that we filmed on a Saturday and he was supposed to come back and pick up that coffin Saturday evening after we were finished filming. Mm-hmm. I found out later he did not.
Oh, no.
Sunday morning.
I see where this is going.
Sunday morning, little church lady shows up.
Great.
Opens up the door because she's having Sunday school with a bunch of little kids. And she opens up the door. She gets there a bit early, fortunately.
Yeah.
And she opens up the door and she sees a coffin down at the, where we call it.
Closed, I'm sure, right?
The coffin was closed.
Yeah.
But it was at, the front of the church. And she didn't know what to do.
Of course.
She told me the story later. She hesitated a long time before she finally went in to the room and then worked up the nerve to go up to the coffin, stood at the coffin for another 3, 4, 5 minutes before she worked up the nerve to actually open it up and look inside.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so funny.
And it's just fortunately, it was empty. And but then the next question was, I've got kids coming in a few minutes. And but the timing was so that our friend who had delivered the coffin, his team came and took it away like just before the kids showed up.
Oh, good.
So they got in there, they got rid of it. So, but in my mind, picturing her standing there wondering what was inside the coffin is priceless to me.
That's so good.
It's one of the best parts about filming it.
And then she goes the route of like, how do we work this into our lesson for this morning? Talk about the empty tomb of Jesus or something.
Yes.
I don't know. Dude, she would have had to get creative in that moment as well.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah. There is a scene in the movie as well that was totally spontaneous. The address on that church was the number 6. And we make a little joke about spontaneous at the moment, a little joke about 666.
Sure.
I don't know if it went over well with
I should think not.
No.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you're 12 years removed. You're fine.
I think so. I don't work there anymore, so it's all good.
Sure.
It's all good.
That's funny. I like the coffin story. That's good. Yeah. Well, dude, this has been awesome. I think this is my favorite so far.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I always love talking about this kind of stuff for sure. So the film is BFF Zombie. Is why you're here.
It's getting better at it.
I'm so good at this now. So you can see that and you can support Fedor at newdealtelevision.com/BFF Zombie. You can go there and see the trailer and read more about the film itself. And side note, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's a pretty popular movie on our platform.
Oh, nice.
People love their zombies. Like we had to upload the trailer to YouTube to link it to the website. It's been played 43,000 times.
Oh, wow. It hasn't been that long.
And it hasn't been that long. So people love their zombies. So if you'd like to be one of those people, go to newdealtelevision.com/BFF Zombie. And you can support Fedor. Click on the link and it'll take you to the actual streaming service to show the movie. And watch it, love it, get excited about it because we're excited about it. It's gonna be on there for a while, I hope, and it's a good time. And as for next week, we will be talking about the state of indie filmmaking. And so basically, I'm assuming it'll be a lot of the same stories, but with some future casting in there as well, and figuring out where we're all going. Because if you're looking around at this moment, the film industry is changing a lot, which is in part the reason why we started and launched NDTV. So trying to get a piece of the future here.
Yeah,
as well.
I think I got some really good things I want to share with you guys. So
very good. So join us back next week, and we'll learn about the future of the film industry together. And thank you so much. Till we see you again, get out there and make something cool. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for hanging out with us on Checking the Gate, Episode 5. We learned all about how Fedor made BFF Zombie, his independent zombie film. If you'd like to see that, you can go to newdealtelevision.com/BFF Zombie. Check it out there. If you have your own film that is looking for a home, if you haven't found a place to put it yet, I'd love to invite you to put it on NDTV. You can introduce yourself and send us your movie at newdealtelevision.com/submissions. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. So until we see you again, get out there and make something awesome. We'll see you soon.